Do you remember when Moist Critical broke the internet with the biggest moment in chess history? Brace yourselves as the master of comedic commentary, Moist Critical defies the principles of chess and unleashes a move that sent shockwaves through the digital realm. Rewriting the history books, Critical slays the formidable streamer XQC in a very brutal fashion, winning the biggest game in chess tournament history. Here's a refresher, in case you need one.
My cock is throbbing.
We will be revisiting the game in order to commemorate the 3rd anniversary of this momentous event, looking into the good, the bad, and the ugly, as well as some insight into what could have been played. Let's begin.
E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6. This is all very common, very typical for all levels of experience. D4, this is the start of the scotch, and then the pawn's going to take, the knight takes, and then bishop goes to C5. This is the classical variation. XQC responds with pawn to C3, which is the 5th most popular option in this position. However, the opening calls for bishop to E3, and Stockfish would agree with that. Critical responds with queen to F6, and XQC plays knight takes C6, totally blundering checkmate on F2, winning the game on the spot for Charlie.
So what if XQC does find bishop to E3? Okay, well, Critical should then play queen to F6. However, mate is going to be defended by the bishop this time around. Now it is time to play C3. We need to add another layer of defense to the knight. The knight is under a lot of pressure right now at this point on D4. Next, we're going to see from the black position, knight on G to E7. We need to clear out the back rank and add a layer of defense to that knight. Bishop to C4, this is something that you're going to have to look for when you play E4 with the white position. And then now knight to E5, we're going to ask that bishop a question. What are you doing here, punk? And it's going to retreat back to E2. Queen to G6, we're going to target the pawn structure for the white pieces here. And then now we're going to see a kingside castle from white. D6, you got to be ready for when that comes out against E4, F3, and now kingside castle from black. This is the classical variation. So what if instead of C3, you play knight to B5? This is the Blumenfeld. You're threatening a fork there. And so the bishop is actually going to take on E3, forcing you to respond because otherwise that is going to be made on F2 once more. So you're damaging your structure. You've got doubled pawns. Got to respond to the check. Now the queen could take on E4. However, you'll succumb to the same fork. So instead, it's best to retreat back to D8. And the queen on the white will go to G4, threatening the rook. So you've got to respond to that in some way. And however, I will tell you, D5 does look pretty appealing in the future as a discovered attack. Here's the eval bar if you want to take a look at that. Somewhere out there, a variant of XQC chose to play knight takes C6 rather than bishop E3. So Critical should still respond with queen to F6. This is the Intermezzo variation. Defending with queen D2, the pawn is going to take the knight on C6, doubling the pawns, ruining the structure a bit, but it's okay. Bishop to D3, and then knight to E7. So most popular move in this position is going to be castling for white. However, some other options are going to be knight to C3, and as well as we're going to have the option of queen to F4, prompting a trade there. Here's the eval bar for you. I really enjoyed making this video and recounting the events of PogChamps, so if you liked peering into the multiverse and checking out the alternate timelines and how this game could have gone, then definitely feel free to leave a like or comment down below. As always, happy chess.